Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the show. I'm Sean David, and as always, thanks for tuning in. In the segment of Disrespected, I'm always taking a look at NBA players or NBA legends where I personally feel that they are underrated in NBA history. And in today's video, we're going to talk about one of my favorite players of all time, Pistol Pete Maravich, a player that not only was incredibly ahead of his time, but also had the potential to be maybe the best player ever. So in this video, we're going to take a look at Pistol Pete, but before we start this video, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I would say let's start the video.
Boy, could he play basketball and could he entertain you. You know, the no-look passes, the dribble the ball, then pat it with one hand. That's where I saw that from Pistol Pete. That's where I got it from.
Pistol Pete's story begins in 1947 in Pennsylvania. Pete was born on the 22nd of June to Peter Press and his mother Helen. His dad was the son of a Serbian immigrant and a former pro player. He taught Pete the game from an early age. Already in his high school days, Pete showed that he was something special and not your everyday player. He spent hours and hours in the gym every day to perfect his craft. His father pushed him to the limit to be the best player that he could be. Back in those days, the NCAA prohibited first-year students to play on the team. But when Pete was finally allowed to play, he scored 50 points, 14 rebounds, 11 assists against Southeastern Louisiana College in his first game. His father was the coach of the team and put Pete under a lot of pressure. Pete not only had to put up crazy numbers, but also fill the seats. Both he accomplished sensationally. Pete played 3 years in college and to me became the best college player to ever play the game.
I think one of the toughest sells in America was to sell basketball in Louisiana.
It wasn't until Pete showed up on campus and started playing that word spread like wildfire that here was a bona fide superstar.
As soon as he touched the ball, people went to the edge of their seat. You were scared to take your eye off of him because something might happen.
It was as if you had melted down all 12 Harlem Globetrotters and then filled up this skinny 6'6" white frame with everything they had.
It looked like Ichabod Crane out there with a mop on his head or something. He didn't wear those gray floppy socks by accident. He knew that people would see him. He knew that he was selling the game.
I loved him at LSU. Socks flopping. He had flavor. I'm like, wait a minute, where this guy grew up? And he had that something.
You were never quite sure what he was going to do with the ball in the open court because he had 1,000 moves to either shoot it or pass it.
Number 23, Pete Maravich.
As already mentioned earlier, Pistol Pete's college career was incredible. If you see the numbers, you won't believe it. So let's have a look. Obviously, the first thing that really stands out is his points per game. I mean, this guy averaged over 40 points per game in every single season. And you gotta remember, there weren't three-pointers back in the days. So this is even more incredible. Also, if you have a look at his rebounds and assists, you can see that this guy had an all-around game, having a great rebound average for a guard, plus also a high average in assists. So we're talking about an all-around good basketball player. After such an incredible college career, it was clear that Pete would finally fulfill his dream and play in the NBA. You would think that Pete's crazy and innovative style would fit more to the ABA, but the league was still struggling putting people into the seats, and financially, it also wasn't looking too good. The moment Pete signed up for the NBA draft, his NBA career didn't seem to be kissed by luck, something nobody could have foreseen.
We are most happy to announce that Pete Maravich will play professional basketball for the Atlanta Hawks.
Going from LSU to the Hawks was about the worst possible place he could go. A really good, predominantly black, veteran team, and all of a sudden, you throw a virtuoso, good-looking white kid who was going to sell NBA basketball in the South. You have a recipe for disaster.
Pete was put on there to be a savior. There's going to be some discontent from some of the black ball players. Guys think they should have got more money.
We got a contract for $1.5 million, plus a car, an apartment. They were making about $40, $50, maybe $60,000 a year. And we're struggling with management even to get that kind of contract.
Even though Pete again put up some crazy numbers, in his first seasons, the Hawks weren't winning. Pete was also known to ask his dad for advice about the game, and sometimes even ignoring what the coaches said, something that would hurt Pete's career a lot. Also in interviews, Pete started to say that he was kind of losing interest and that the game wasn't as much fun as it used to. After only 4 seasons, he left the Atlanta Hawks. He was traded to the Utah Jazz. Pistol as an individual player was incredible. His scoring arsenal was second to none. He was literally unstoppable. He had range, he could shoot from anywhere, but he also had the handles to get anywhere he liked. And of course he was a regular all-star. But while his numbers were getting better and better and were insane, Pete was battling some serious demons. Depression, alcohol, and if that wasn't bad enough, also the injuries. It got simply too much for him. In 1980, he got waived by the Utah Jazz and picked up by the Boston Celtics. There, Pete had to come off the bench while he still felt that he was one of the better players in the league, but he wasn't. The same year, he retired at the young age of 32, a sad ending for such a unique talent. So how good was Pistol Pete Maravich? Well, let's get some facts together. He was a 5-time NBA All-Star, he's a Hall of Famer, and he was voted one of the best 50 players of all time. So how can I come up with a video that says he's disrespected and underrated? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, when people talk about the best scorers of all time, I hear guys like Will Chamberlain, Michael Jordan, of course, and nowadays even guys like Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, and so on. But how come we're not talking about the best college player to ever play the game, a guy that scored over 40 points a game, a guy that could average over 30 points a game if he wanted to in the NBA? A guy with a crazy arsenal, a guy that was ahead of his time like by 25 years? To me, Pistol Pete is not only one of the best players who ever played the game, but had the potential to be in the top 10, maybe in the top 5. I know it's hard to believe, but this guy was special. And I believe if it wasn't for his many bad situations and circumstances, he would be ranked higher by everybody. So Pistol Pete, this video is for you, my man.
I'm excited to be a part of the night where we honor Pistol Pete. He's one of the greatest players to ever play the game. His ball handling skills, his scoring ability was amazing. There's plenty of players who worked on their games and did whatever they did to try to compare to the great Pistol Pete. He was an amazing player, amazing person, and I'm excited to wear the old school Pistol Pete jersey. Hopefully they got some of those socks that he used to wear too, because I can't wait to put those on as well.
Pistol Pete was the best college basketball player of all time. He didn't play his freshman year. He averaged like 38 points a game in college. It was amazing. I used to do his homework basketball video dribbling tapes when I was a kid. Unbelievable.
When I was growing up, Pistol Pete Maravich was, a name you heard everywhere. He made those uniforms, those Atlanta Hawk uniforms, really, really special.
To me, Pistol Pete was a pioneer of a new style, just like Iverson in his time. And, he influenced the game in great ways and came out with some new moves that nobody had seen before. So I enjoy watching him still to this day. Tonight is his night.